Great seeing you here again. My name is Luc de Kuster, founder of the Kuster Academy. And in this video, I will talk about how to do the net present value calculations in Excel, just using the classical formulas. We will not be using the built-in NPV formula that you can find in Excel and in other spreadsheets. But before we continue, don't forget to click on the subscribe button, click on the bell button, and every time we have a new video, YouTube will inform you about it. So let's have a look how this looks like in Excel. So let's have a look at this table. In this table, we find the different information that we need. First of all, we have the discount rate that we're going to use, which is equal to 12%. So you enter it as 0.12, and later you can change it in the format of percentage. I only put one decimal here, but I can put more decimals if you want to. So I can put here 12.0 if I want to put there some decimals different from 0. We have the initial investment of 25,000, which I wrote here as a negative number, which is typically the case because the initial investment is a cost. We have from year 1 till year 5, 12,000, 15,000, 18,000, 24,000 and 5,000 euro. We have the column B in B5 up to B10. We have the numbers here. We use them to calculate the powers because remember, when we have to calculate the discount factor, we have to put there the power depending on the number of years starting from the initial start of the project. So what we're doing now, we have to put a formula in there. So we do this typically is equal to, and we have to put equal sign, of course. We take 1 divided by the power function of Excel, and we put here the interest. So 1 plus the discount rate. We have D2, but be careful. We have to make this a fixed reference if we're going to copy-paste this formula. The fact that we make it a fixed reference means that whenever we copy, that value will, or the cell reference will remain the same. So we put here function F4 and we see the $2 signs which refer that when we copy this formula, it will always point to the cell D2. We put a comma there and then we put the power, so this is B5, and we close the brackets. So finally we have a discount factor of 1, which is of course logical because here we have the initial investment which is already expressed in present value. What we do now, we can just copy paste this. So we have copy, Control C or Command C, depending on the type of computer that you are using. So we have the copy. Now we select all the cells where we want to copy this formula. I go to paste, paste formulas, and immediately we see the different discount factors. So we can also put there more zeros. So we can go up to 4. So we find some numbers that we've been calculating before, or we can have 2. Don't worry, Excel keeps up to 20 decimals in the result. Whatever we do as a calculation, it will be 0.8929 or 286 and so on. It will not change. But for some reasons, it looks nicer that we only have 2 decimals, but it doesn't really matter. What we now have to do is to calculate the discounted cash flow. So we say this is equal to the amount multiplied with the discount factor, and that's in fact for the first row we have the initial investment. The discounted cash flow is of course equal to minus 25,000. We copy this cell again. We select all the cells where we want to have this formula copied, and we paste formulas. When we paste formulas, we keep the original layout of the table and the things don't change. So this is the best way to do it. Of course, you can do the formatting afterwards, but then you just can drag the formula down like this, and it will work also. Now we have all the discounted cash flows. What we have to do now is, first of all, we can calculate what is the sum of all those discounted cash flows, all these future cash flows. What is their sum? So we just take sum and we select all the numbers here, and we find that the total sum of the future cash flows is 53,574, which is just what we expect the return of the project will be in present value. For the net present value, there are two possibilities. We can just add the F11 with F5. That would give us the net present value, because we have to subtract the initial investment. Subtracting the initial investment is adding the minus 25,000. Or we can just say, in this case, this is equal to the sum of all those fields together, and we find the number of 28,574 with a discount rate of 12% and the different cash flows and the initial investment. That's basically the way we deal with this in Excel. We use just the definition of the discounted cash flows. We use the formula, the normal formula of the discounted cash flows. We can do this differently. We can also use the net present value formula that is built into Excel, which makes it a little bit easier, but we will look at that in some other video. So this was the example in Excel. So we completed the calculations in Excel. It's quite easy. They're simple formulas, and it can be applied in many cases, but there are better ways to do that when we would be using, for example, the built-in formulas, but that is for the next video. That's all for this video, but don't forget to click on the subscribe button, click on the bell button, and every time we have a new video, YouTube will inform you about it. Thank you very much, and I'm looking forward to seeing you in our next videos. Bye bye.